Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Stupendous Steve Barber, and joining me as my co-host is Delicious Dwaylen Davis.
Hey, everybody.
You'll always be delicious, dude. I mean, that's just what it is. I mean,
Yep.
uh, I mean, but today we are going to, we're going to give the review of WWE Extreme Rules 2022 because I figured, well, last week we did the preview, so today we can give the
Yeah.
review. Yeah,
Only
I
makes
mean,
sense. Yeah.
it makes sense, just take the P off the re, and there we go.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I thought it was a pretty decent show, especially like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. It was a pretty good show. There were a few things I was kind of like,
Yeah,
but I mean, overall, it was a pretty good show.
yeah. I mean, I'd say it was, it was somewhere between 3.5 and 4 stars. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
perfect,
I think as far as my picks, I think I was, I don't know, maybe 50-50. I'll have to, once we get to talk about it, I'll have to see. I'm not
one
sure.
One of them, we actually kind of went on a limb and we almost got it spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Should have thought about it, but
I did. Yeah. I didn't think about that happening, but yeah.
yeah. And for those of y'all who are listening, going, what are they talking about? Well, you probably have not watched the pay-per-view yet. But
Right.
But I mean, it was I mean, like I said, I mean, it was a good show, and
Yeah.
I was very pleased with it. So, and then I kept texting, "Hey, you watched it yet? Hey, you watched it yet? Hey, you watched it yet?" It's like,
Yeah,
you don't want spoilers.
I was just busy all weekend. Yeah, I had to dodge Twitter. Just
Yeah, once you watched it and you saw when you got back on social media and you saw why I was saying, yeah, if you don't want spoilers, I mean,
yeah,
because I mean, it was just blowing up.
yeah,
And
yeah. My phone kept going off, and I'm like, nope, not doing it, not ruining
yeah.
it for me.
So, but did you get the big news before you actually saw it
Yeah,
about, and I'll just go ahead and say this part. I mean, if you're listening to the show, you probably already know Bray Wyatt returned.
yep.
And in absolutely fantastic fashion. That was,
Oh, that was amazing.
yeah.
I especially love the end when he says, "I'm here," and just yeah,
Yeah, so, oh, but before we get started on that, I want to go ahead and give our contact and listing info. If you'd like to email us, it's armchairbookingpodcast@gmail.com. You can always find us on Facebook at facebook.com/armchair booking podcast. You can find us on Instagram also at armchair booking podcast. You can find us on Twitter at booking armchair. You can find us on TikTok at armchair booking podcast. One of these days, I'll make another video. It's been, almost like a year, but it's kind of just trying to figure out what to make for a video,
yeah,
but you can always find us on YouTube on this channel here. If you're watching on here, like, share, subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Tell your friends about us because we're trying to hit that 100 subscriber mark. That way we can get a real URL and not the random gibberish letters.
Yep.
So as far as audio platforms go, you can find us on just about any audio platform there is. If we're not there, let one of us know. We'll do whatever we can to get ourselves added. You can also find Dwaylen at fat_daddy73 on Twitter.
Yep.
And you can find us on his other social media outlets at Big and Fat. You can find my other podcast, my non-wrestle podcast, the Cubicle Chat just Cubicle Chat. Just do a search, you can find it.
Yeah.
And you can find our merch, tpublic.com/user/armchair-booking-podcast, because we do have some merch.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yep. In fact, I need to order some more merch to kind of show around a little bit because I haven't actually ordered our own merch in a little bit. But then that's my bad. But have I missed anything? I think I've gotten everything.
I think you got everything.
Yep. I do want to give some shout outs to some other podcasts real quick. Always got to give a shout out to Ted because Ted's awesome.
Absolutely.
Ted the Hillbilly Hill. Go listen to the Hill Truth. Also give another shout out to Wrestling with the Truth. They've become fans of ours. We've become fans of theirs. And there's another podcast. In fact, I don't know why the name escapes me, but it was actually kind of funny because when I was listening to his episode the other day, he actually had something happen to him that happened to us. Wrestling World by Austin Boyer. Because every time he mentioned the name Alexa, his
it went off.
Was going off, and I was like, "Hey, nice to hear somebody else is
having that problem." Yeah,
yeah. I mean, But yeah, another good podcast to listen to. He actually runs his solo, kind of like Ted. Ted runs his solo, but
Yeah.
he does a really good job. And want to give another shout out to TNC Sports Talk with Justin. He's been pushing us. Whenever I can, I try to listen to him because he runs his show live in the mornings, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock Eastern time. And I also want to give shout out to True Crime Cast. I'm wearing their shirt right now. For Jamie and John from True Crime Cast, and they also run their podcast called Bless Their Hearts. And are there any other podcasts we need to give a shout out to?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. In that case, let's get started on Extreme Rules.
Yep.
So, what'd you think overall? Seriously.
Overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. I mean, better than most of the Extreme Rule pay-per-views because it actually, lived up to the name. You actually had different, stipulations and, for that kind of thing. Like I said at the top of the show, there was a few outcomes that I felt that were right, but the way they went about it, I'm like, yeah. But we'll get into that. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good show. I had to go back and watch. There was like 3 matches in the middle that I missed. I fell asleep watching it, so I had to go back and I went back early. I went back this morning and watched those 3, so I'd have them fresh in my mind for the review.
And like I said, I should have been taking notes while I was watching it, but I didn't. But like I said, a lot of the stuff I remember, because I was making mental notes and somehow they stuck. But the first match, Brawling Brutes against Imperium, this was
match of the night in my opinion.
Oh yeah, this was everything I thought it would be.
Absolutely, this was just 6 guys beating the crap out of each other, using everything that wasn't tied down. Sheamus doing the razor's edge to Gunther through the announce table was awesome. It didn't hurt Imperium to lose.
Nope.
I think it did. I think because Gunther still has his mystique. It's not, a loss is not going to hurt him, especially he didn't lose the title. So
exactly,
he's still the Intercontinental Champion. But I think that was a good win for the Brawling Brutes.
And a good way to start the show.
Yeah, got the crowd off hot. Michael Cole kept saying, and this is just the first match on the card. I think they kind of set the bar pretty high, and I think there was only like one other match that came really close to that level, and that was the Raw Women's Championship match, the ladder match.
Okay. I like this match. Like you said, match of the night very easily because it was just nonstop action.
Oh yeah,
from word go, and it was brutal. When we were not expecting a bunch of scientific moves. We weren't expecting figure fours. We weren't expecting they're not calling it the cloverleaf or his. Oh no, he is calling it a cloverleaf. It's just not a Texas cloverleaf.
Right. It's just a cloverleaf. Yeah.
Yep. Which I'm so glad somebody finally started. I love that move.
Yeah.
And I know that it's kind of a expectation. I don't know if it's an unwritten rule, but if you're going to use a move, you actually get permission from the person who's considered to own it.
Yep.
And Dean Malenko more or less owns that move. I don't know if he came up with it, but but it's considered his move, and so
he perfected it. So
yeah, and so but so I don't know if Sheamus got the quote unquote permission to use it,
right?
But either way, I'm glad to see him using it, and it makes sense because they're going with the whole Irish theme, so they're calling it the cloverleaf.
Yeah,
just makes sense, and like I said, it did not hurt Imperium to lose.
No.
It wasn't burying them because, they were right there in it the entire time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like they got squashed,
Exactly. And I don't know where this feud is going. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a title change in there at some point.
Oh, yeah, because Sheamus has already had 2 shots at the Intercontinental title. And so I figure he's going to chase it at least one more time.
The ultimate Grand Slam.
Yep.
Now the next one, I think we both made the call. Ronda Rousey and Liv Morgan.
Yes.
We both made the call. Rousey over Morgan,
Yep.
and that match. I mean, it was an Extreme Rules match, and it actually they used a baseball bat. I mean, they were getting pretty nasty with each
Yeah,
other.
they were getting pretty nasty, but yeah, I think they made good use of the weapons and everything. That senton that Liv Morgan did to Ronda on the table.
Yeah.
That was good. There was a few dodgy spots where you could tell Ronda was a little out of her element. You know, I don't know if you remember the spot in the corner where Liv first gets thrown into it, reverses it, throws Ronda into it, and she tried like a backstabber, and Ronda like bridged out of it instead of going through with it.
Oh,
And it's like,
yeah.
you might want somebody might want to talk to her about that.
Yeah. I mean, the sad thing about that is, not really sad, but she's an MMA fighter. That was probably
Mhm.
just instinct for her
Probably,
to do
yeah.
that.
Um, yeah, I still forget she doesn't really have a ton of matches under her belt as far as wrestling goes.
Man, she really doesn't.
Uh-uh.
I mean,
Because remember, she was there for a year, took another year and a half off, if not more.
I think it was actually almost 3
Almost,
years.
yeah, and then comes back, and she's only had a handful of matches since she's been back.
Well, I mean, granted, her run this time is better than her first
Yes,
run.
yes, she's playing more into the heel stuff this time. I think she's figuring out that instead of trying to fight against that tide when the crowd turns on you, just ride it out.
Yeah. Just use it to your advantage. Go, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
come on, boo me.
Yeah,
Because hearing boos is better than hearing nothing.
exactly.
That's the way it is in the wrestling world. And I like how Liv Morgan did not tap out,
She
but
passed
she
out.
but she passed out.
Yeah. And I like how when she came to, she passed out with a smile on her face.
Mm-hmm.
When she came to, she still had a smile on her face. And I think we're gonna get like a heel Liv
I,
Morgan.
I think not only that, but I have a feeling she is going to be joining the Wyatt family.
That would be awesome. Speaking of Wyatt family, Bo Dallas is on his way back.
And that's actually why I'm saying she's going to join
Mm-hmm.
because they're a couple. They're a couple in real life.
Yeah, they're a couple in real life. He's Bray Wyatt's real life brother. So just make it work and don't mess it up this time.
And now that Vince is not there,
Mm-hmm.
they might actually acknowledge that they're brothers.
Yeah, just
You
have him
know,
say it. Have him say it in a promo,
yeah,
and that would be the perfect way to bring him back. Is just have Bray acknowledge it on screen, and bring him in.
yeah. I mean, acknowledge they're brothers. By the way, also acknowledge their dad is Mike Rotundo. By the way,
Mm-hmm.
also acknowledge their uncles are Barry and Kendall Windham, and also
Yep.
acknowledge that their granddad is Blackjack Mulligan.
Yep.
And when Blackjack, when he passed away, was it like 4 or 5 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, neither Bray or Bo Dallas were at. It was like on a Monday morning, so they weren't at the Raw event,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't. I know they made mention of them not being there, but they didn't say why.
Mm-hmm.
And they did mention Blackjack Mulligan passing away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why they couldn't say, by the way, he was their brothers and Blackjack was their granddad.
Yeah. Because Vince wasn't going to allow any of that.
I don't get it.
I don't understand why, but he wasn't allowing any of that. Makes no sense. It's never made any sense to me why you wouldn't acknowledge, people's lineage. Sorry, had something I had to pull out here.
Okay.
But I don't understand why they wouldn't acknowledge people's lineage. This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I don't get it. And now that because with Liv Morgan, with her having a kind of a smile, either that or she was, trying to advertise that new movie Smile that's out. Which
Yeah,
I don't know if you've seen the ad campaign, what they're doing with that, but
I have.
yeah,
Savannah went to see it, and she said it was pretty scary. So
okay.
I have to check it out.
They're having people at like the baseball games. They're propping them up behind the catcher, like
Mm-hmm.
and just smiling. And if I was a pitcher, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that here. Not doing that. Get them out of here. But But for Liv to do that, I mean, and so it might make sense that she's kind of joined the Wyatts, and with her passing out and not tapping out, she still finished strong.
Yeah, absolutely. She's finished stronger in this match than she did um, in any match since she was champion.
I know, and that's the sad thing. It had her tapping out while pinning somebody at her very first title defense, and it's like y'all just buried her like
Yeah.
bad.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That was terrible.
And now we got to say, okay, what's next with that? Are they going to have another match, or is Ronda going to move on? Because Liv Morgan was not a popular champion.
Nope. Fans turned on that pretty quick.
As soon as she tapped.
As soon as she tapped, that was it for her run. The fans were like, nope, not having it.
And she should have walked in, the very next night and said, "I lost my smile," and handed the title over. But this one she found her smile, so it all kind of worked out.
Yep.
Now the next one, the Drew Karrion Cross match. I'll say good match, not a great match. I'll say a good match, bad ending. I did not like the ending of it.
I didn't either. Not the physical display that I thought we were going to get. I mean, there was some moments, but I just expected the way they had built this up, and I expected a knockdown, drag out fight.
Yeah,
and we didn't really get that. We got Karrion Cross all of a sudden afraid to put the strap on.
Right.
And it's like the whole time, the whole point of his gimmick is he doesn't fear anything. Everybody's supposed to fear him. And then you have him afraid to hook up the strap. And then you have Scarlett, cause a distraction in order for him to win. And it's like
it didn't make any sense.
Didn't make any sense. I mean, the right person won, but not the right way.
Exactly. I mean, it didn't help him to win like that. Because like you said, I mean, they're pushing him to be, not afraid of anything, pushing him to be this unstoppable heel.
Yeah.
And I mean, it'd be one thing to sit back in the corner going, "You want me to put that strap on? You got to bring it to me. I ain't coming to you."
Exactly. It's one thing, but it's him like teasing that he's going to put it on and then throwing it down and then attacking him, before the bell. And it's like, if you're going to book him as a killer, then do that. Don't make him look stupid, because to me, that's not as stupid as Vince made him look, but it's just for his character, they just kind of made him look dumb Saturday night.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't jobbing out to Jeff Hardy, for no reason, but but I mean, well, I'll say borderline good match. I think maybe because our expectations were a lot higher than what the match actually was.
Yeah, I think this would have been a great Raw main event, but it wasn't a great pay-per-view fight.
No, it wasn't. And I think that's one of the I think that's kind of a category we could put like the pay-per-view matches. Is this a pay-per-view match or was this a TV match?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's kind of the the not really the standard, but but it is kind of a comparison. I mean, we could look at for like every match. And this is another one. Okay, what's next? Because this is their first match.
Yeah, this is the first. That's why I thought they kind of came in a little hot with the strap, stipulation, because this is their first official match against each other. So, do they keep feuding, and where do you go from here? You've already had a strap match, so if you keep feuding, what else do you do?
You had a strap match with pepper spray involved.
Exactly.
And although I will say somebody should tell the referee, if you see somebody with pepper spray poured in their eyes, you don't pour water.
No, they do that every time somebody gets pepper sprayed in wrestling. The refs pour water. It's like, go on and burn them. That's what it's going to do.
I mean, you need to have like some milk or something.
Yeah.
A base.
Yeah.
Even if you had to grab somebody's bread, like their hot dog bun, and rub it on there to try to get it off. But no, you don't pour water. That lets us look and go, yeah, I don't know what that was. Maybe it was like Banaka or something. I don't think it was pepper spray.
Yeah.
Remember Banaka, the stuff they used to advertise WWF?
Yep.
I used to buy that too. And when I was in band, I used to take it and spray my mouthpiece.
Yeah.
So, all right. But Bianca and Bailey, and I can see why you would say this was like the next best match.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, it wasn't perfect, it, and I do have some issues with some things in the match. Now, Bianca was still showing her strength because
Oh yeah,
yeah, I mean, man, my God, she is strong.
she's ridiculously strong.
Yeah, and when we were making our predictions and we said, "Oh yeah, watch Alexa Bliss and
Mm-hmm.
Asuka were going to interfere,"
Nope, they did
along
not.
because they were injured.
I forgot about the angle that they did on
I
Raw,
Yeah,
but
same here.
and yeah, so they were not a factor at all. Bianca ended up winning, which is fine, but I still think Bailey should have won.
Yeah, because well, I know I was there thinking, why a ladder match of all matches? Because this is
Mm-hmm.
their first match also.
Yes.
And I know they're going for some kind of Extreme Rules match. You're not going to
Mm-hmm.
have, just a regular match. But I was like, why a ladder match? I mean, because Bailey chose it,
Yeah.
but so I didn't understand the point of a ladder match. The actually, well, we were also expecting, and I think it's what it is. I mean, we put our expectations kind of high for certain
Mm-hmm.
wrestlers,
Yeah.
and if these two are high, we expect really good matches, and this one was not as good as what.
Yeah, not as good as what we were expecting. I did like the finish, the KOD on the ladder,
Hmm.
and then Bianca climbs the ladder and grabs the title. But I do agree with you. I think this match could have been better, especially with the two people involved. Um, but as far as overall, I think it was the second best match on the card.
Somebody needs to show Bailey how to use ladders from now on because she was struggling trying to.
He was struggling trying to get a couple of ladders in place. Yeah,
Yeah, and somehow she broke the braces. I was like,
yeah,
okay, that's different. Now then
yeah,
it's like, so now you have two lean ladders that,
yeah, yep.
and it's like, okay, and the when Sky and Kai when they interfered
Hmm.
and Bianca was getting them both up on her shoulders. Did you
Yeah,
see how, I don't remember which one it was, but she was like trying to, you could see she was trying to get on top
yeah,
of there. And I'm like, you know what, if you can't do it, just get off.
yeah,
Because right now you're making it look
yeah,
like you're setting it up,
yeah.
and so that looks sloppy. So that was an issue I had with the match, because there was some sloppiness there, and Bailey just lost, even though she had a three on one advantage.
Yeah, she had a 3-on-1 advantage. She pinned the champion at Clash of the Castle. She had like all the momentum going into the match, and then she loses.
Yeah.
And it's like, you've got this whole group called Damage Control where they're trying to take control of the women's division. What better way to do that than to have Bailey win the women's title while Kai and Sky have the tag titles?
Yes.
I
And
mean,
they,
you did it with Roman and the Usos. You can't do it with
yeah.
Bailey,
Oh,
Sky and Kai.
and it Bianca now, if she lost the title because of a 3-on-1 disadvantage,
Yeah,
you
then
know,
that would be a good story because she would be able to, she'd be able to say, "Well, you didn't beat me clean. It took three of y'all to get it done."
yep. And then it's ready made. Like, okay,
Exactly.
she's trying to get the title back, but every time she goes in there, she's having to fight Bailey plus these other two, and
Right.
and so that's when it sets it up to be a cage match, or I can't really say a lumberjill match because every time they try to do something like that,
Yeah.
it ends up just being a battle royal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they might as
So
well
true.
just scrap those plans now, people. We're not going to, just say, we'll just have a battle royal.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, Bianca still is Bianca.
And she's still over because I mean,
Yeah,
when she was climbing, when she was got to the top of the ladder, that crowd was losing their mind.
yes, they were. And she used her hair as a whip, and a nene. I don't know. I just figured
Yeah.
that. So that's such a goofy song.
Sorry, my daughter's texted me. Go ahead.
Oh, but uh, the next match, this is the one where we almost nailed the weird ending
Yeah.
because we said Edge would say I quit, but not because he wanted to, because we said Ray would interfere and Edge would say, "I quit," to keep Ray from getting hurt.
Yeah.
Didn't even think about, oh my God, who is Edge married to? Beth
Exactly.
Phoenix.
I did not. I don't
Ah,
know why I didn't think about Beth Phoenix.
because she only shows up, and she only shows up at pay-per-views. We really should have thought about that,
Yeah.
because she shows up to help Edge, and I didn't even think. And all of a sudden, as soon as Ray came out, and they beat him down like he owed him money,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you never saw Ray again.
No, you didn't. Dominic knocked him off the apron, and then that was it.
That was it.
And it's like Ray just vanished. And but yeah, Beth came out cleaning house, and then you got her and Rhea. They teased that, and then poor Beth got
and
beat up.
as soon as she walked in the ring, I was like,
Yeah, I
oh,
was too. As soon as she hit the ring, I was like, there it is.
yep.
There's the way out.
Now, I will say this match, this was a almost 30-minute match. It was 5 seconds away from being a 30-minute match. The first half of the match just drug.
It really did. It was
man,
boring. It really was. They could have cut that down to they could have cut 10 minutes off that match and made it
easily
so much cleaner.
And they're showing Dominic. He's becoming kind of a jerkhole heel.
Yeah.
You look at him now. I'm like, I just want to see somebody just punch him in his face now.
Yeah.
He's being mean to his dad. Kicking his dad. He's thinking that Rhea is his woman.
Yeah.
And but then when Edge, the way he said, "I quit," I quit. I quit. Because you could tell that was like, he was desperate for, so Beth wouldn't get concertoed, and then they big fat concertoed her anyway.
Yeah.
So that feud's not over.
No, not at all. I was hoping this would be the end of it. Give the Judgment Day something else to do. I've had my fill of the whole Edge trying to destroy what he created thing. It's like, just move on to something else, because this has run its course. Yep. Unless they're going to have a match where Dominic against Ray, there's nowhere else to go with this.
Oh, score update: Raiders 7, Chiefs nothing. Started the second quarter.
Oh wow,
Raider Nation.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just now saw the score update. I just have to announce that I did like Edge using the hockey stick.
Yeah, I did like that. Yeah.
So, and they fought, not just in the ring. They went other places, but for some, it still wasn't doing it for me until the rest of Judgment Day interfered, and that's when the action really picked up. And now Edge also slamming Balor's head off the door frame. I was like, all right, that's a nice touch. I like that.
Yeah.
But it once again, it was another brutal match. All the matches on this card were brutal, but they were. They were all designed to be brutal. And I don't know what, because they were having something going on with AJ Styles. Now, granted, we may be missing everything that's happening on Raw right now because we record on Monday nights while Raw is on. And the only way I can watch Raw in my office is if I actually watch it on my computer, which we use to record. So,
right.
But I don't know what's go on with that. The Miz and who's the guy who's been stalking the Miz?
Dexter Lumis.
Yep. Yeah. That might be something tonight, because today apparently is the Miz's birthday, or he's doing.
Yeah, they're supposed to have some birthday celebration or something tonight on Raw, which is always a sign for somebody's getting beat up. So.
Yeah, and I'm DVRing. On 2 different boxes I'm DVRing because I want to see how they're starting Raw.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately I was just finishing up some work before this, and so I could have pulled up real quick, but I just want to see if they started with the lights going and then Bray really coming back. But the last match on the card, and now I know what a fight pit match is.
Yeah. I didn't really care for it.
Yeah, they took the ropes off,
Yeah.
and it's just a fence,
Yeah.
but it's a double. I didn't get the whole point of the leg.
Yeah, I didn't either. I didn't get a point. I didn't get the point of that. It's like, what sense does that make? And then, I mean, because you've only got the little ledge that goes around. So when they did, you knew they were going to climb up there.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they did, it's like, now what do we do? Because we don't have enough space to really do anything.
Right. And he got a pedigree. He got a couple things, and then
Yeah.
Riddle did his the was it a senton or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was a senton. Michael Cole called it originally called it the Bro Derek, but the Bro Derek is when he does a flip when he comes off. This was just a regular senton, but it looked like it shattered Seth Rollins' ribs.
Yeah, just the way he landed.
Yeah.
I knew I should have took notes because there was one time during one of the other matches, this kind of a side note, he called somebody by the wrong name, and I like to fell out of my chair laughing because it wasn't even a wrestler's name he called him. And because then he got corrected, they're like, "Oh, really?" And so I think that, they're a little more relaxed now with the with the commentary.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to give Michael Cole all the credit. I've crapped on Michael Cole for a long time about his commentary, and I know it was because he had Vince barking in his ear. But since Triple H has taken over and he's kind of had some freedom, he's been really good on commentary.
Yeah, and especially what was the first pay-per-view? It's like, yeah, a lot of things have changed.
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, this match, I agree. If they said, okay, this is going to be the main event, I'd say no. This was not a main event type match.
No, the main event match should have either been Bianca and Bayley or the Brutes and Imperium. One of those two matches should have been
because of the quality of the match.
Because of the quality of the match. This one was a bit of a letdown. It was just not as. It should have been a lot more physical and violent than what it was for it to be a fight pit match with a MMA Hall of Famer as the referee. It should have been a violent spectacle to end this feud, especially because Matt Riddle won. So they should have been beat up and bloody. And I'm not one that says you got to have blood in every match, but something like this, something like a fight pit, warrants color.
Yeah.
So they should have both been a bloody mess coming out of that match because it should have just been a violent affair. And instead, to me, it just kind of limped on longer than it needed to. And then Matt Riddle won. I do like the touches that they did through the whole pay-per-view. You can tell it's a Triple H trademark. Whenever they were announcing the wrestlers in the ring, the lights went down, spotlights just went on the wrestlers. And then, because Triple H used to do that in NXT, then they would raise the lights and the match would start. And I always like that because I feel like that gives the participants the focus. And it's not, Vince always wanted the crowd shots because he always wanted, look how many we have here. Look how many people we got in the seats. Triple H is focused on the wrestlers.
The wrestlers.
And by having the spotlights just on the wrestlers, it's like showing that importance.
And here's the ironic thing about what Vince would do that. So we got to see the crowd. But he would absolutely hate it when the crowd became part of the show.
Yes, when the crowd tried to insert themselves into the show, Vince would lose his mind. But you inserted them in the show because you want to show how many people are there.
Yeah,
they see your cameras panning through the crowd, so it's like if they're gonna be on camera, they're gonna make sure they're remembered.
Yeah, you go to any wrestling show, at least in the United States, and when they say a match, with one fall, and the crowd will immediately go one fall,
yeah.
Well, Vince made the announcers keep on going, so to kind of cut the crowd off, and it's like,
the
crowd's paying attention if they're doing that.
Yeah, and it's like it adds to it.
Yeah,
Like why cut that off and take that away? It's like you can't say you want crowd interaction and then try to smother the crowd interaction.
exactly. And with this match also, did you notice how? Well, first of all, Seth, he's been trolling, coming in with like some kind of vintage ring gear, like the last I don't know how many pay-per-views.
Yeah, yeah.
When he came in, because I had actually, I had stepped out of the room for a second. I came back and I'm like, why is he dressed up like Rob Van Dam?
Yeah, he even had his hair
You
slicked back with the
know?
ponytail and everything.
I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so
And
that's
then and then he goes, Seth freaking Rollins
yeah. And so I was like,
with the
okay.
thumbs, and it's like, okay, all
Uh,
right.
but did you notice he tried to bounce off the cage like it was ropes?
Yes. Yeah, I caught that, and it's like Seth
Yeah,
forgot where he was for a
yeah.
minute.
I mean, it was just instinct. He's like,
Yeah, I mean, you've got the ring, you've got the ring and the posts, but no ropes. So
right.
I don't know. It was a bad
And
concept. It'd been better if they just had him in a cage,
yeah,
a regular cage match.
and not having Daniel Cormier, how do you pronounce it?
Cormier, yeah,
Cormier, yes. He got it a little involved, but not like,
not what I expected.
yeah,
I expected these two to come in trying to tear each other to pieces, and he's having to manhandle each one of them
yeah.
to keep some kind of order. And I mean, look, go back and watch. Anybody who hasn't seen it, or if you have, watch it again. WrestleMania 13, Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Ken Shamrock's the referee.
Hmm.
That's how you insert an MMA fighter into a wrestling feud. Ken Shamrock got physical several times with both people
Hmm.
to try to maintain some law and order in the ring. And I just feel like they didn't utilize that with Daniel Cormier.
And they could have it. So I mean, I this was just kind of a wasted opportunity
Yep.
to me. I mean, and it wasn't. I mean, it wasn't horrible,
It
but
wasn't
like you said,
horrible, but it wasn't
they should have had
uh
blood. I mean, this
yeah.
is like you said. I'm not one to say give me blood off. No, they should. This was a match that you would expect to see blood, and
Yeah. This was, I mean, for all intents and purposes, this was the blow off of their feud.
yeah,
And it just didn't I don't know, didn't feel important.
and especially considering what happened. Like, I don't even think Riddle was completely
He
out of the
wasn't
ring.
like Cormier raised his hand. They were at the entranceway, and Cormier raised his hand, lights went out, and then
The
I've got
Fireflies.
the fireflies, and then I've got the whole world in my hand started. And then people were, I mean, they did that perfect because
Yes, they did.
they had that crowd in the palm of their hand from the time the lights went out. People were
Yep.
expecting Bray Wyatt to come back last night, but they did not know for sure. When those lights went out, you could almost see that place tremble. And every time they showed a person dressed up as one of the Firefly Funhouse characters, just the anticipation just kept rising.
Yeah.
And then when he walked through that door, the crowd just lost their mind. I mean, it
Yeah.
erupted. It was like the biggest pop I've heard in a long time. And then it even got bigger when he took the mask off.
Yeah.
And people knew for sure he's back. And then he said, I'm here, and blew
Yeah.
the lantern out.
And he had because he had that lantern, and I was like,
Yep.
okay, and it's a regular looking lantern. It's not that stupid one that looks like a head.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't stand that one.
Yeah. That it was cool once.
Yeah.
It was cool the first time he debuted as the Fiend because I felt like it represented what he was. But after that, it's like, now can we have
Well,
the lantern back? Because the
I mean,
Fiend got old for me really quick.
it did. Yeah, same here.
Yeah. I
I
mean, it was a
mean,
brilliant creation, but there was only so many places he could go. He didn't need the
right.
title, and they put the title on him twice.
With the
Uh,
and I mean, call me a belt purist if you want to. I can't stand when they design a custom belt for a specific wrestler because it
yeah, very few of them work. Like Steve Austin's Smoking Skull belt worked for him at that time, but generally custom belts don't work. That's why you don't see a lot of them because they don't work.
right.
Um, That's why a lot of them have been created and then never used. But I did not like the Fiend's, uh, you know, custom belt. Uh, I'm glad he's back as Bray Wyatt. So I'm hoping with Triple H in charge, he'll actually be a big deal like he should have been
Exactly.
when he debuted on the main roster years ago. Because in NXT, he was a big deal in NXT. The whole
Hmm.
Wyatt family was a big deal in NXT. They get to the main roster, know what to do with this guy. It's like, can you just watch NXT and do that? Because that's
Yeah.
kind of working. So
I mean, and I like I said, I preferred the Cape Fear
yes,
Bray Wyatt.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
I prefer the backwoods, the Everglades preacher
yeah,
talking out of his head. That Bray Wyatt.
yeah. And I will say one other thing about that um, the weird lamp they had. It looked like he
Hmm.
beat up some kid and on Halloween and took his it took his candy carrier.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, I prefer, like you said, the backwoods cult leader Bray
Yes.
Wyatt.
Yes.
Who'd come out there, had his rocking chair, and he'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden, you'd see him talking, and you're like,
Yeah.
this dude's crazy.
And he'd
I
have,
mean,
he'd have the straw hat on and
yeah,
everything. And it's like, there it is.
yeah,
It's like, don't mess with it. Just go.
yeah.
You're literally printing money right now.
And it started out. That's another one that started out real strong,
Yeah.
and then just, I mean, the whole thing with him and Daniel Bryan, the whole thing with him and John Cena. You know,
That's really what killed that gimmick was when they had him do all that with John Cena. Then he loses to Cena at WrestleMania.
hmm
Then he beats Cena at Extreme Rules in the cage, but only because a kid creeped John Cena out,
yeah,
singing the whole, I got the whole
yeah,
wild world in my hands. So he didn't really beat John Cena. A little kid distracted him, and he was able to win. And then Cena soundly beats him at Payback. So it's like you fed him to John Cena, you fed him to the Undertaker at WrestleMania. That should have been the coronation of the new, King of Fear or whatever, because he should have beaten the Undertaker when he wrestled the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
hmm that would have been the perfect pass on. Also,
Yep, it would have been the perfect
yeah,
passing of the torch, but old dead man wouldn't get out the way. So,
yep. Pretty sure Clown Shoes was involved too. I don't
oh,
know,
I'm sure.
but
I'm sure.
yeah. So, but now that he's back, and this is a whole, we always try to look at the okay, now what?
Hmm.
And I think they need to have him somehow reform a version of the Wyatt
White
family.
family. Yes.
Um, Obviously, Luke Harper, is
Yeah.
passed on,
Yes.
but Eric Redbeard,
Hmm.
Eric Rowan, he
Yep.
could always come back without a stupid little toy robot spider in a.
No, I need the Eric Rowan in the Michael Myers jumpsuit and
Mhm,
the sheep mask.
and the
That's
sheep
the Aaron
mask.
Rowan that I need.
The
Yes.
sheep mask, they just
Savannah,
happen to see at like a little store. Like, hey, let me try that on. Hey, you ought to do that. What?
yeah.
And,
Yeah. Savannah can't stand that mask. She said it creeps her out. I'm like, baby, that's the point.
but you wear it anyway, don't you?
Oh, if I had one, I'd creep her out all the time. I'd just
Yeah.
pop in her room and be like, hey, freak her out. First thing in the morning, get her day started off right.
Yeah, just sit there at the dinner table, just like a little food hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So, um, but yeah, reform the right fan, especially if Bo Dallas is coming back.
Yes.
Put them together because that's what they should have had to begin with.
Yep.
Put Liv Morgan with them, or put Alexa Bliss with them,
Yeah.
because I mean that they could have a reunion, or have
Mhm.
have both. And I always forget, what did Kevin Sullivan? What was his flock's name? I forget this every single time.
Um, I can't think of it.
Um, and here we go. As I can, um, Army of Darkness,
That's it. Yeah.
the
That's
Army of
it.
Darkness. Yep. And because and it's pretty sad when I go to Google to look it up. I start typing to Kevin Sullivan. It's became a Kevin Sullivan stable, and you could sell it, because it's got a little thing if you've ever looked it up
Hmm.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Army of Darkness. I mean, he also had the Alliance to End Hulkamania, the Dungeon of Doom. Kevin Sullivan just had a lot of stables, man.
Yeah,
Let me see.
but besides the Army of Darkness, the rest of them were terrible.
Yeah,
Except for the Varsity Club. Except for the Varsity Club. Varsity Club was awesome.
Oh, the First Family. Wow, that's a huge stable. I don't think that was just him. House of Humperdinck, Three Faces of Fear, and the Varsity Club. Yeah. Um, and actually, it would really make sense if Bray Wyatt were to start up something like the Army of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kevin Sullivan, he had it. Well, Kevin Sullivan had the Varsity Club later on with Mike Rotundo.
Yes. Yep. All comes full circle.
All comes full circle. And so I personally think they ought to go down that route. Because the Wyatt family, they looked like that, like the creepy, because anytime you see, like a guy with the Michael Myers mask with a foot long beard, and you're thinking, yeah, that dude, yeah, he looks, like he could tear somebody up.
Yeah.
By the way, and that same guy, he's also like a classically trained guitarist too. That's another weird thing. Now put him and Elias together as an actual guitar playing duo. But first, let's rebuild the Wyatt family, and I think Saturday night was the perfect start to that. The crowd was just loving it.
That crowd was so hot. It was like, Lord, it's been a long time since I heard a crowd that hot.
Yeah. And every time they showed, well, first the crowd couldn't see like the White Rabbit little video they did with the rabbit, and that's really the first one I've seen just because of the chaotic schedule, that we've been having over the past month. I've just been hearing about it, but I looked and I'm seeing like this 8-bit graphics and I'm hearing 8-bit sound.
Yeah.
And the rabbit gets to an X and I'm like, I wonder if this is X marks the spot. This is they're gonna, and they said lights out, fireflies, and I'm kind of wondering if the first few, however many fireflies, weren't a plant of some kind of.
Oh, I'm sure to get everybody else to do it. Yeah.
And then when they showed them all in the different entryways or the. Now, when I was talking to our friend Randy at church the next morning, and he said he read that was they actually had a director.
Oh, really?
Who came up with all that? I'm like, you know what? And they did a really
they did a fantastic job. Yeah.
Score update: 17-0 Raiders.
Ooh.
In Kansas City.
Oh.
Carlson kicked a 53-yard field goal.
Wow.
So, like I said, hopefully they can hold on. Raider Nation. I just figured that in there because your Packers ain't looking too good right now.
No, they're not. No.
But of course, the Raiders, they've won one game, so I can't talk too much trash. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to be coming next with the Wyatt family. Some of the other feuds, I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go next. Bianca and Bayley, they need to have more matches because right now Bayley just got buried, for no reason.
Yeah, for no reason. It just didn't make sense for her to not win the title last night because it wouldn't have hurt Bianca to lose it. Not last night, Saturday night.
Right.
I was off today, so it threw. Don't know what day it is right now, but Saturday night, and Bianca could have lost the title and it not hurt her a bit.
Exactly.
If anything, it would have just made her stronger because then she would have been chasing the title.
Mm-hmm. And chasing against 3 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ronda, I don't think Liv Morgan is going to be bucket for a rematch because she was not a very popular champion.
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to put against Ronda though, because I don't know. SmackDown's kind of light on credible challengers. I mean, you got Sonya Deville, but she already beat Sonya Deville to qualify for the title match anyway, so I don't think they'll go back to that quickly.
Put in Doudrop, or are they going to let her go back to her?
I don't know. I haven't even seen her in a while. I don't know what they've got her doing.
They may be repacking her, but you know what? Put Ronda Rousey against her because you're talking the skill against the size, because that's always an intriguing matchup right there.
Or just give me Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. Just give me
that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Just give me that match. That's all. That's all I want to see. And have Shayna beat her. That's all I'm asking for. It's not a
Um,
lot.
and with Sheamus, we're pretty sure he's going to end up with the Intercontinental title within the next month or two.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that.
It would make logical sense.
Yeah, because then
Um,
King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, IC title, US title, both world titles, just and Money in the Bank.
and Money in the Bank, and um, let's see, Karrion Cross and Drew McIntyre. That's got to go somewhere because
Yeah, they need more matches. At least with I'll give the pepper spray angle a little positive. At least with that, Drew gets to say, "Well, you didn't beat me clean. Scarlett had to blind me with pepper spray in order for you to be able to beat me."
right.
So at least there's a little bit of an out. So there's a little positive on it, but I just still didn't like the way that match ended.
And what? Oh, Riddle and Seth Rollins. Hopefully that one's over.
Yeah, hopefully that's done. I feel like it's run its course, and we don't need a continuation of this feud. I mean, there ain't nowhere else to go.
Mm-mm.
You had the last match in a fight pit, so that's it. I mean, let it go and let both guys move on to something else.
Yeah, I mean, what the girl say in the movie Frozen? Let it go, let it go.
Seth is supposed to have a U.S. title match tonight against Bobby Lashley, so we'll see how that
Oh,
goes.
I hope they don't put the title on Seth off of Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I don't think they should take the title off Bobby Lashley yet.
No, no, he should not be losing the title yet.
No.
You know, because they kind of screwed him around a couple times.
Yeah,
Like that.
especially when he beat Brock, instead of just letting him beat Brock clean, they had to have all the shenanigans with Roman and all that stuff in order for
Mm-hmm.
Bobby to beat him. Then they knew he wasn't going to be cleared to compete, but had him in the chamber anyway, and then used concussion protocol, which should never be used as a wrestling angle.
No, it
Since
shouldn't.
especially since we know about CTE and all that stuff, it's like, no, you do not use that to as a storyline device. Um, so he loses the title without ever actually even defending it. So at least with the U.S. title, he's had a good run so far, and he's had some really good matches.
And yeah, there was only 6 matches on this pay per view. I think we we just
Yeah,
already covered them
yeah,
all and what we should expect next. But yeah, next episode should be Thursday.
yep,
We're still trying to get back in the swing of things just because
yeah,
life has been really, really chaotic lately.
yes, yes, it has.
Um, I have not found other employment yet. Even though things have kind of calmed down at work at
Hmm.
the job now, but at the same time, I don't want to go through that again. So I'm looking for other
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So the one job I did apply for, I told you about,
Hmm.
they came back and they emailed me and they're just like, we're looking for somebody else.
Oh,
But I'm like, all right. I mean, at least I'm not out of a job.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just didn't. Yeah. So, just kind of look at things positively. That's what I always tell everybody. Look at things positively. Maybe that's wasn't meant to be.
Hmm.
So I mean, I've got other things that I've actually. There's one in particular I'm going to tell you about after we're done recording because I'm like,
Yeah.
huh. Um, but what we talk about Thursday may depend on what's happening as we're speaking right now.
Yeah.
I don't
Very
know.
true.
But either way, we always manage to find something to talk about, and we may go old school. We don't know yet because, like I said, right now we're having to just kind of making sure nothing's going to get in the way of us recording.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
big thing. That's the first big thing.
Yeah.
We couldn't record 2 weeks straight. We could not record.
Mm-mm.
All
No,
because of me working 200 hours in 3 weeks.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
So, but until we can actually talk again on Thursday, my friend, good night and God bless.
God bless.